Ngā mihi koutou. It's great to be here today and to actually pass on a few messages and to our Dr. Tim. Great kōrero iho. So I don't have to talk about it now, which is great. Yeah, it's just one of those things that we all get it, guys? We all got nuts and we all got this prostate. Go and get the sucker fixed, That's what he's saying. And so the thing is, look after your health, and it's all about responsibility. But notwithstanding that, it's great to be down in Nelson. I think the last time I was down here was a few years back, and we gave bloody Marlborough a hiding on the football field. Wasn't hard though, was it? Yeah, wasn't hard, and so the thing is, but a lot of water's gone over under the bridge in the last few years, and I actually I had a cancer battle myself. And so the thing is, no one, picks that you're going to get cancer. It just picks you. All right? And so I'm going to talk to you about my little story of getting cancer and things like that. And it was a few years ago now, 10 years ago. And the things that I learned on this journey and the changes I had to make in my life to actually be better, to be a better father, to be a better husband. Okay? So this goes right back probably to 2005, 2006. I had a contract up in Japan. And I was actually only allowed 120 days of working in Japan. And so I was flying backwards and forwards. And I was doing, on average, probably about 10 trips a year. Okay? 10 trips a year, so that's 20 flights this year, 20 flights the second year. And during that time, I was probably burning the candle at both ends, travel. I was working back here, working my butt off in my business back in New Zealand. I had a pub. I was a publican. I was a big fat bastard. I was 145 kilos. And so the thing is, I put the weight on after I retired from playing the game of rugby. And basically, my health was deteriorating. And I didn't notice that because I was so busy trying to make money, so busy working to look after my family. And then when I got back from I finished my contract in 2006, and basically during that period of being up in Japan, I realized that my eye was weeping. And so my wife kept saying, go to the doctor, go to the doctor. And I put it off and said, you better go to the doctor. And so I come back from Japan, and basically my eye, I thought, I better go and do something about it. So I decided to go because I was continually just doing this and wiping my left eye all the time because it was just continually weeping. And so I went to the doctor. I've got a good GP. He used to be the All Black doctor, John Mayhew. And I like him because he's got small hands. That's one thing I like about him. He's got little hands. And and so I went to John, and so the thing is basically, they basically gave me salve. Okay, so they gave me this salve, and I basically rubbed it on my eye all the time, underneath here, and I was doing that for two weeks or something like that. Didn't go away. So I went back to the doctor again. So they gave me something different, drops. So I put in my eye, and that didn't work. So 2 weeks later, 3 weeks later, I decided, oh shit. John said it's not working, so he said, oh, you better go and get checked by an optician. So that's makes glasses and all that sort of stuff. And as you can see, I'm nearly blind now. I'm bloody. Because it's probably all those head concussions I've been getting from the Nelson boys and the bloodies over the years. But I went to the optometrist, and he set me down in his chair, and he had a good look at my left eye. And so while he was there, he checked both eyes actually, and so the left one was the one that was weeping. And so he checked both eyes. He says, your eyes are perfect. You might be a little bit blind because you actually wear glasses, but he said they look really, really healthy. But there is a little lump in the orbit right at the back. And so he said, you need to go and see an ophthalmologist. So that's a bit higher up the tree. And so the thing is, being higher up the tree, so I went and saw this guy, got a meeting with him, and it took me about a couple of days to get in. Even though Auckland's busy, they got lots of these doctors, and they're probably not all that busy. But and so I went and saw him. We sat down in the chair, and he said, yes, you actually have got a bit of a lump there. And so the thing is, I need you to come back in a couple of days, and we're going to do a biopsy of it. And you know what a biopsy is? Yeah. Okay. I'll tell the ones that haven't though. So basically they get a needle and they pull the eye out a little bit. I sat down, they had these things on and pulled my eye out a little bit, and they went in with this needle to actually get a little bit of something out of that little lump. And he says, come back in a couple of days and I'll have the results. Well, basically he said, I'll call you in a couple of days and we'll get the results as soon as possible. Isn't it amazing when you're All Black captain, things happen pretty quickly, boy? And so yeah, I went back. He says, he rang me up and said, I've got the results, come in. So I got on there, sat down, and he says, I've got some bad news. It's cancerous. And the first thing you think is what? Yeah. You think about death. You think about dying, and it's fear. What's going to happen to me over the next few weeks? Because he didn't know what sort of cancer it was. And so he gave me the bad news, and you walk outside and go, oh, fuck, why me? And so the thing is, sorry for my language, but that's what you think. And it's a shock. It's a shock to anyone who gets diagnosed with it. And then you've got to basically turn around and say, what am I going to do now? So I rang my doctor up straight away, who's got the small hands. And I said, John, and I can get right through to John straight away pretty much any time I want. And because I'm his best mate, Because if he doesn't answer my phone calls, I give him a bit of a curry up, Like Tim was saying, you've got to give these doctors a bit of a curry